All right, guys, training performance tip of the day. So, you'll hear my kids in the background a little bit, but the big thing we got to focus on today, or the topic I wanted to focus on today, was training as you get older. There's a lot of people that didn't necessarily train when they were younger, and then they get into performance training for powerlifting, or they get into bodybuilding, or they get into CrossFit, or they get into certain things. And I'm not here to call out what's wrong with any of these, but I want you guys to keep some things in mind. So I'm 38 years old. I've been training since I was 12, 13 in the weight room, long time. And most of my life has been performance-based, being an elite baseball player. And I played 5 sports as a kid growing up, and then slowly turned into one in baseball. And everything was about performance-based, being bigger, faster, stronger for my sport, being better than everybody at my sport. And then I got done playing, I went through a lot of injuries, crazy amount of injuries, and then it turned into aesthetic look, so more of a bodybuilding type feature. Because I started continuing doing performance-based, then I hurt myself again doing Bulgarian split squats with a barbell on my back. I was like 30-ish years old, something like that. And my old hernia scar tissue kind of ripped, and it kind of put me on a whole path. And then it was about bodybuilding. Let's just get bigger and look aesthetically good, right? And even though I had some bodybuilding in some of my training program, it was more built around all bodybuilding and looking good. Well, I did that. I did feel better because it wasn't like traditional bodybuilding, I guess. I still did performance-based stuff and prehab, rehab type stuff. But my body started kind of breaking down from the volume a little bit. So then it turned into, okay, let's start now, after getting beat up all this time, let's start training for longevity. So look good, feel good, right? And not just feel good, but feel good for a long period of time. And I gotta get this set in before that timer goes off. Belt squats here. So this is one transition and change I made. I don't touch a barbell anymore. And the reason I don't touch a barbell anymore for back squats specifically, I still use a barbell, still touch a barbell, I guess, but not for squats. My focus is more built around me not loading my spine, not getting my neck out of alignment. And it's mainly focused around doing belt squats, goblet squats, Bulgarians with dumbbells. It's making sure that I'm not doing anything to my spine, my pelvis, or doing anything that's gonna hurt me long term. And a lot of people are like, well, hey, there's a lot of people that can lift long term and they can be okay without it. I think those people that speak like that as people are getting older didn't have the under the bar experience that most athletes or powerlifters or people that do it for their whole life. Like I've been doing this since I was 12, 13 years old. Sooner or later, you make a change. And I'm not a fan of, people live in dogma and basically, feeling the belief of other person's opinions is factual truth. And for me, I'm always questioning, what people see as the truth. Who said that the barbell back squat, even though we know, again, I'm not trying to rip anything, we know the barbell back squat's benefits. We know how much it helps athletes. We know how much it helps people in general. Bone density, strengthening everything, glutes, hamstrings, quads, you name it, right? But now, I'm about making sure that I don't, if I'm training, if I'm doing boxing work, conditioning work, I just started getting into doing other stuff and helping my kids with certain other activities. I don't want my body to break down. I don't want to tear an Achilles. I don't want to tear my ACL. My elbows are getting jacked up. Apparently, for some reason, I started sleeping weird and putting pain and tendonitis in my elbows. So there's things I have to pay attention to prevent long-term injuries. Because here's the thing, if I can get the same benefit here and still be strong in my legs, still be able to protect and defend my family in a sketchy situation, right? Still be able to feel strong and not feel weak in certain spots and movements, still be able to do everything I want to do, because like I just did 225, it was my 6th or 7th set, and I felt pretty good, and I could rep these out and be continuous with this and be perfectly fine. Whereas if I had a barbell on my back with my shoulder injuries, my neck history, over time, that's going to be beating me down and compressing my spine. And I want my spine and my body to flow. I want to feel good and move well. That's why, like for our adult class that we do at LT, we really don't load the spine. And the barbell moves that we do are more to protect the body and build the body so people can be doing this long term and maintain as much muscle as possible. Because muscle, right? Lean muscle mass, grip strength are the two biggest determining factors to staying healthy and being healthy long term in life. So we've got to look at training in a different aspect. I think everybody should be training in the weight room, should be doing some sort of strength and conditioning. If you like walking, do walking. I'm not a fan of long distance running because most people run on pavement. I don't like what it does to people's bodies. I went through a phase where I was doing long distance running after my shoulder surgeries because it was pretty much the only conditioning I could do. And I just felt my body getting beat up dramatically. And I started doing sprints. And I read an article, something over 30 years old, like 95% of people or more stopped sprinting and stopped jumping. And I just like, man, like that's too young. And like, again, like if a lot of the injuries that happen from people are from not because they shouldn't be doing certain things, it's because they don't do them enough. And I know long-term, a barbell squat on my back isn't going to help me and my body in the long run. Yes, there's benefits to it, but you've got to think about, is the juice worth the squeeze? So for now, I've made an adjustment to go on more of a belt squat. And like, it's the same thing with a bench press. Like, I don't do a barbell bench press, and I'll do a video of what I do instead of the barbell bench press. I haven't done that in years. The strict bar bothers my shoulder dramatically from labrum, rotator cuff issues. And a lot of people, there's people who are like, well, hey, you know, I can do barbell bench press. I've never had any issues. I'm fine. They always want to go to the exception to the rule, but I've never met anybody that's power lifted, weight lifted for a long period of time and didn't have shoulder problems from doing bench press continuously. And there's a little thing called the acromion, schedule 1, 2, and 3. And some people are born with hooked acromion, and that labrum flares and frays the pieces over time. I'm not going to sit here. We're not going to MRI people and be able to see and cut people open to see what's going on. But what I do know is you do those barbell exercises to the point to where you feel physically strong. Like I've been able to deadlift 600 pounds. I've been able to bench press 315, and I don't need any more than that. And I did that at a younger age, and both of those ended up, well, the deadlift I was okay with injury-wise, but the barbell bench press is essentially what tore my labrum. And so for me, over time, I want to make sure that I'm getting older. I'm reaching 40 years old. I want to make sure my clients at LT in our adult class are staying healthy, but not only getting healthy, but feeling and moving better. And I want to make sure that I'm feeling and moving better. So there's little things that you can do and little tips and things that you can work around and say, hey, I don't want to do a barbell back squat. Okay, well, I'm going to do a belt squat. I'm going to do a goblet squat. I'm going to do single leg work. Unilateral work I'm a big fan of. Cossack squats. There's so many variations that you can do from a squat to allow yourself to stay healthy long term and still be strong enough to do the things that you want to do. But the biggest thing is like, for most people that do barbell squats for a long period of time, and you can do it long term, like Louis Simmons, dude was back squatting, I don't know, 700, 800 pounds, I'm not for sure the number, I think until he was like 62 years old or maybe older. There are exceptions to the rule, and there are people going to go through that, but I don't want to be beat up. I want to be able to play catch with my grandkids at 65 years old and feel good and feel relatively good for my age. I want to be able to do things, right? I want to be able to do certain things that most people consider themselves not able to do. And considering all my injuries and where I've been at, I'm able to do a lot of things at 38 years old that most people at 38 cannot do. And tip of the day, I kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight. I'm going to continue doing videos of different things and what we do and how to train as you get older, how to stay healthier as you get older. This is one of my favorite pieces of machine equipment and a belt squat. I use it 1 to 2 times a week. I'll talk about how often to train, little things like that. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, diving into training performance tips. Most of our tips are obviously about performance-based, but we'll start getting into a little bit of everything from the training in the weight room. Obviously, we do hitting and pitching videos and all that stuff, from the baseball-oriented stuff, but we're going to dive into the strength and conditioning stuff, the fitness and performance stuff, so people kind of understand, because I know it's lost among the average person about how important strength and conditioning is. And again, I'm not dogging doing certain things. They all have benefits, but as you get older, there's certain things you have to keep in mind and be aware of to protect your body if you have goals in life to be able to do certain things as you age. Coach Laird, out.